sometimes I just like to hit the road, clear my head, get out of town, and just get a change of perspective. And I think that it's good for a person to do, and this is something that you can try. It's kind of a process that you have to experiment with a little bit. I've adopted that practice over the last few years, where I'll take myself out of town just by myself, go on a little trip, take a weekend, and just go to a cabin, ideally. But I've also just gone to another city, just grabbed a hotel or an Airbnb somewhere, and just for the sake of changing my surroundings and getting out of town. I find that that's just such a refreshing thing. Sometimes I will take the time and I'll get in touch with some people when I'm out. If I'm in another city, I'll do that. Of course, if I'm in a cabin, a lot of times I just like to sequester myself, and that's it. There I stay. No phone calls. Most of the time there's no TV in these cabins that I go to, which is fine for me. And I just kind of go there and I read. I'll do a little bit of writing and do some planning and check in on my goals and do some brainstorming, that kind of thing. And I find the whole process is refreshing. It's not for everybody, but that's the practice that I've kind of adopted. Also, another practice I've adopted just in the last couple of years has been to take myself out on a week-long road trip. And that has been a great thing. It doesn't even have to be a road trip. You could just take recently I went to Vancouver and I flew out there. That was great. Did a lot of hiking and a lot of walking around town, and took in a conference while I was there. So it was and it was great. It was really refreshing. And now some of you guys might say that, oh yeah, well my wife would never let me do that. Well, don't fool yourself. It took me a long time before I was able to start doing these things. And where it starts off is it starts off by just kind of taking a day for yourself, and even just taking a few hours by yourself too. And the whole process is kind of like how it was told to me before. When I was first told this idea, it's like putting on your oxygen mask. You know how you're going on an airplane, and the first thing they tell you to do is they're going through all the instructions is, if the oxygen masks drop, put your mask on first, and before you help anybody else, put your own mask on first. So this process is like putting on your own oxygen mask before you can help anybody else, because you get to a point where you just maybe get overwhelmed, or you get lost, or whatever it is. You just need to take some time and put your oxygen mask on, and then you can be in a position to help other people that need your help. So that's what that process is like. So think about that. Take some time for yourself. Start with a few hours. Start with an afternoon. Start with take a day and go on a hike or go on a drive somewhere, and then try a weekend. And also, don't just do this for yourself, but also if you find that your spouse is a little hesitant on that whole thing about you going off by yourself, well then encourage her to do it too, or him. My wife has just, after a number of years, seen the value for me in doing this. And now for the first time this spring, she's going to take her own trip by herself. And I encourage that. And she's a little hesitant on it, but she's already booked the flight, she's already booked the room, and she's going for it. So great. That doesn't mean we're not going to do our own trip together either. We're still going to do our trips, but there's also a lot of value in just having your own trip. So think about that. Take your own personal getaway. Take a chance to hit the road, clear your head, get out of town, and give it a try. You might find that it's got a lot of value for you, and you might find that adopting that whole process is life-changing. So I'll leave that with you. Take care, and in the meantime, bye for now.